First of all, I'm wondering why Skyfall was trending on Twitter like around Christmas Day or something. I don't know what was going, like why that was popular then. Maybe it was related to announcements about the new James Bond movie Spectre. I love Daniel Craig as Bond. I really liked Casino Royale, although I first thought it was silly. Then I went to liking it. Then I went to thinking it's really good. It's really very good. Although it's got a few little just silly, just tiny little beats that could have been better, like at the... Well, anyways, I won't get too specific. Saw Skyfall, I was expecting it to be great. I love Sam Mendes. Revolutionary Road is great. Jarhead is great. Forgot for a second. Both very tight movies, great performances. And I thought Skyfall was dog shit. I mean, it was just so bad. It was so stupid. Starting with just the first... action scene. You always expect that to be kind of the best action sequence in a Bond movie. It just felt dull and flat to me. I'm tired. Shots seem to linger on too long sometimes, which later in the movie there seemed to be way too many shots, and sequences could have been done with 1 or 2 shots that were done with 9. It felt like shots lingered too long, like they became sort of like dead weight, that it just like sort of like lazily just put shots together that didn't really flow to me. The sound effects were distractingly bad. I don't know why the sound effects were so ridiculous, like when Eve is driving next to the train and then she pulls onto like whatever, it's like a dirt road, and it's this weird like asphalt noise of a car driving, like and just generic sounding engine revving noises. It's just bizarre. Like, why do that? Why make it sound so bad? Even shots between, like, when Bond was about to get on the motorcycle and chasing that guy with the hard drive, and he had that pistol that had 2 like belt clips, like drum clips, I mean. He was firing at him. Show the guy firing the gun, it's like brrr, and then cut to the other shot, it's like delayed, and there's the continuity's not there, and it just felt ridiculous. Again, the shots kind of linger. There's just a rhythm. It's not that the shots were boring to me in the sense that it would have been more exciting if it was just faster. It was the rhythm was off. Some later in the movie, a lot of stuff I felt needed to be longer. And it just felt lazy. Not just the shots, but the camera choreography was really dull and lame. I'm so tired. I mean, it just seemed like it felt like there was no motivation for a lot of the camera movements. The only time it felt truly motivated, and it made it feel too stagey then, was when Bond was in Shanghai. He was trying to kill that guy who was going to who sniped some guy in the back of the head from across a skyscraper. And yeah, that finally, the camera work was precise, but there you kind of get it. You see, like, you kind of get the idea that, okay, the filmmakers thought we have to stage this really carefully, but nothing else in the movie needed to be staged carefully because none of it mattered. And yet, when it was staged like that, it felt too staged and sort of leaden and wooden. And that's what I got from that first sequence. Again, it just... It almost was so goofy, I'm wondering, like, was the movie going to do something meta or ironic and, like, turn this all around on us? And it sort of did with Bond dying in the first few minutes, or you think he's dead, but of course he comes back. And but they didn't. I was laughing. I was like, what the hell? Why are we watching these wooden sequences that the cutting was not tight at all. The camera choreography was awful. I even want to say even kind of the cinematography was awful for that reason. Yes, Roger Deakins lights a shot well. Some of the camera movements were nice. The look is very pristine. Like any single shot or any single frame in a lot of the sequences in the movie could make a great poster. But yet, when the camera's actually moving, it's just dull and limp. And there's no motivation for the camera moving. Then on top of that, a lot of the supporting characters seem to do very little. Ralph Fiennes as I think Mallory barely did anything in the movie. If you're going to get a great actor like that, get him to do something. He barely does anything. the character who Q. I couldn't believe, I was laughing like at how ridiculous it was. He says he's going to, in the end of the movie, he's going to leave a trail of clues for Silva, who was the best part of the movie by far. Javier Bardem, whenever he's on screen, he made the movie exciting, his sequences. But then again, they copied too much of The Dark Knight, and it was just I was like, oh, I already get exactly what it's going to be like, where it's not a surprise anymore. Even if I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, it was too wooden and too dull. I was like, it's not a surprise. I've already seen this in The Dark Knight now, which of course cribbed from a lot of other things, or quoted and borrowed from a lot of other movies. But even so, the fact that Silva gets captured all by his own plan, escapes, and then has no real plan except just to kill M, and it's just so ridiculous and phony and staged. How at the end of the movie, okay, Silva escapes, and he doesn't really have much to do in terms of being a great villain. He's well acted, very well acted, but he basically he wants to kill M. So James Bond takes M to his childhood home, castle or whatever, and they say, okay, we have to go somewhere that's low tech because Silva's so good with computers. We have to find somewhere that he won't be as strong because he can't use his computer knowledge to his advantage. And they tell Q, okay, Q, you have to leave clues for Silva to come find us. And he says, okay, we're going to do that. Cut away to him. And I kept thinking, when are they going to come back to him? When are we going to show the cat and mouse, the strategy behind it? You never see it. It's tossed off screen, and they just do it. And for what? Just to have a shootout in a single house. Nothing escalates. There's no dynamic there. It's all flat. It's all one-dimensional. It's just a shootout at a house. I was almost laughing. I was like, no, you cannot be serious. I know Sam Mendes is such a better filmmaker than this. Jarhead was so exciting with just people, with just a soldier walking around and being miserable and just depressed. And yet here you have a huge shootout. And I was like, I was waiting. I was like, okay, where's the great filmmaker going to put a twist on this? He never does. It's ridiculous. So I just can't imagine why Silva would go through all that trouble. Or not, I can't imagine that. I just can't imagine filmmakers plotting all this and thinking it's acceptable. And the fights were pretty dull for most of the movie. I mean, the fight in the floating casino was ridiculous. I was waiting to see, well, what's the twist? Okay, you got the Komodo dragons, and it's all kind of reminiscent of older Bond movies. You have one bodyguard attacking Bond, and he just charges him and screams and shows his teeth, goes, ah, and just tackles him, and they go into a Komodo dragon pit, and he dies about a minute later. So I was like, oh, you're trying to make a statement, right? The new Craig Bond movies are sort of playing with the conventions of Bond, and you just made a crappy, poorly choreographed action sequence, not exciting at all. The music was awful. Oh, I couldn't believe that. Just how dull it sounded, and a lot of times it did too much. Like in the scene where we see all the caskets of the dead operatives, NATO operatives or whatever, who are undercover trying to fight terrorism. First of all, there are too many shots in the sequence. You could have done it with a handful of shots, or it keeps cutting back and forth, and you lose energy and momentum with that. You lose some of the performance in that. It feels unmotivated, and the music just does too much. It could have been very simple, kept it dark. Instead, you hear all these horns going back and forth. It was just so amateurish. It was trying to cut so many things. I mean, it was trying to do so many things, and as a result, it just took me out of the movie. It's like the music was saying, okay, I've got a lot to do right now. Hold on, and the movie will come back when I stop being so fucking ridiculous. Slack. That's what I wanted to say about the early sequences. And not just dull, but slack. The camera just goes on. There's no motivation for the camera moving. It just follows someone, and it's like they didn't want to bother setting the camera down different places, getting the camera to get interesting setups. What's the point of getting a great DP and a great director and great actors. The DP didn't really seem to be... Yeah, I know individual shots look great. In the trailer, one of the original teaser trailers, it all looked great. But then when you see the sequence, like when they go to Shanghai at first, I saw an establishing shot. Then I'm like, okay, here we go. Another establishing shot. Another. It felt like 6 establishing shots. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. You got a lot of coverage and you just didn't want to cut away because it all looked nice. So fuck this movie. It is so unbelievably dumb. Casino Royale is a lot more fun. GoldenEye is a lot more fun. I appreciate it in a way, the darkness it went for. But again, nothing... A lot of sort of seems like it's building up to something, and I just cannot get over how the movie boxes itself into a corner with a shootout at the end of the house. So the plot stops about 2/3 into the movie to have a shootout in a house. Oh, it's symbolic of Bond's childhood or whatever. Okay, do something that's dynamic to demonstrate that, not just have him go to the house where he was raised. And by the way, I know it's, in a movie, especially a James Bond movie, you can overlook plot holes, and I'm going to overlook some of them in the movie because who cares? As long as the movie goes forward with its momentum, it's fine. Why was it just Bond and whatever the housekeeper at his childhood home who were fighting Silva's goons, or his henchmen? Why weren't there other MI6 operatives? Oh, they didn't know who to trust. They didn't. No. It's what they did. It seemed not even like they were trying to save money on the budget, because I'm sure if they wanted to have a huger shootout, they could have. It just felt incredibly like lazy as far as the energy put into coming up with a story. Not even the energy. I don't even want to say it's like the effort. I'm just saying it's whatever I'm trying to get across. It was a lazy storytelling technique. Put them in a house, get them to have a shootout with Bond, the guy, the servant at the house, and M, and have it be kind of dark because it evokes Bond's childhood and now his age and all this stuff. Blah 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 blah. Bunch of crap. This movie's dog doo-doo. I kind of want to see Spectre. I'm a lot less excited about it now because Sam Mendes made a terrible movie. Roger Deakins shot a terrible movie. He's not, or terribly shot it. He did terribly shoot it. And he's not on for Spectre now. Someone else is horribly, just generically scored. Yeah, well, please, just... Oh yeah, funny I say that Casino Royale and GoldenEye are better because they were both directed by Martin Campbell, who I guess is better directing these movies, because Casino Royale was a lot of fun. It was slack in some areas too, but much better shot. Oh my goodness, better shot. Action's much more exciting. It felt much more tense. I'm annoyed just thinking about it. Like, what an incredible fucking waste. It doesn't cost anything to have a good story. So... Sam Mendes, if you want to talk, I'll help you work out the next Bond movie.